Have you ever experienced this situation? Five more minutes. Oh crap! Oh crap! I overslept! Because I know I have. Quite a few times actually. Back in high school and then later on in college, I would oversleep for the morning classes. And later on, with the 2 or 3 odd jobs I would have to work, I found that if I was called in to work a morning shift, I would consistently almost not make it in time. Now, I did find ways to work around this. I would speed up my morning routine. I would just not eat breakfast or something. I would always find some way to still make it on time, or at least not very long afterwards. However, I found that there was still this annoying tendency to neglect my daily responsibilities just to catch a few extra Z's. And for the longest time, I couldn't quite figure out why this was. But the more I thought about it and the more I sat with those feelings, the more I began to realize that there was something bigger and deeper at play here. I would like to propose an idea to you. And you might scoff at it, you might brush it off as complete hogwash. Fine, believe what you will. But here's the idea. So many people are conditioned to believe that the world we wake up to when we get out of bed in the morning, the tangible, physical world around us, is all there is. That if you can see it, you can smell it, you can taste it, you can touch it, then it's real. And by extension, the dreams we have at night are nothing more than your brain making stuff up. That is the mindset that most people have towards the concept of dreams. But here's the thing though. Objectively speaking, there is no proof for this idea. I want to propose a different idea to you. What if what we experience every night when we curl up under our covers and lay our heads on our pillows is actually the real world, and this is the dream? Think about that for a second. Just think about it. I know, it's a crazy idea, right? But let's say that this idea was true. What would be the implications of it? Well, for one thing, it would completely throw all of your values out of whack. Because everything you think is so important, it doesn't matter. It's all a dream. Now, I know what you're thinking. This can't be true. Obviously, the physical reality all around us must be real. After all, it's right there. You can touch it, you can hear it, you can see it right in front of you. But can't the same be said about dreams? Dreams certainly can feel real while you are in the middle of them. The fact is, you simply accept the reality that is presented to you, whatever that might be. The only exception is if there's some kind of disconnect that signals it as artificial. For example, if you wear a VR headset, yes, it can feel very real. The graphics and the audio quality might be hyper-realistic. But if in the simulation you end up going horizontal while in reality you're standing upright, your proprioception system knows that that doesn't add up. And so, a signal is sent to your brain saying this isn't right, and you know it's fake. But there's nothing like that in dreams. When you experience a dream at night, it feels real, and there is no way to tell one way or the other if it is or not. And here's the crazy thing. What if I told you that the so-called physical world works exactly the same way? You know that old nursery rhyme? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Life is but a dream. That's the thing. Life is literally a dream. And there's actually a few ways I can back up this idea. First of all, what we think of as physical reality isn't actually physical at all. everything in the universe, as far as anyone's been able to tell, is simply energy vibrating at different frequencies. That's it. It's all just energy. And even on the most fundamental level, the little particles that we think make up everything, like Lego bricks, protons, neutrons, electrons, quarks and gluons, all of those aren't actually solid. Most people have a little mental image of little pellets that are kind of stacked on top of each other. No, it's actually waves of electromagnetism. That's what they're made out of. It is pure energy, and that energy can be stacked on top of each other. It can be very, very dense to the point that it appears physical and solid, but the only reason that objects seem solid, the only reason that they don't pass through each other, is because they are repelled like the same sides of a magnet. The electrons of one atom push against the electrons of another, and they refuse to touch each other. If that force did not exist, you could literally push your hand straight through a brick wall. But guess what? The rabbit hole goes even deeper. Because even that argument I just made assumes that the physical energies that make up all of reality are in fact actually physical things that are really there. You don't know that though. Objectively speaking, you cannot know what the world is like outside of the framework of your own subjective experiences. Take this pencil, for example. Now, you might think to yourself, obviously there's a pencil there. It certainly looks like a pencil, and yes, that does seem quite self-evident. But just because you see the pencil doesn't mean that there's actually a pencil. For all you know, you might just be a brain in a vat that's having electrical signals sent to it. It's like that line Morpheus said in The Matrix.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
But even that can be called into question, because can't even the human brain be considered a physical object manifest within our experiences? Yeah, it can. So here's where it gets pretty trippy. You know that you are a conscious mind having experiences, and that's all you can know. You can't know anything beyond that. Which means that as far as anyone should be concerned, consciousness is the fundamental reality. And therefore, anything experienced by your conscious awareness firsthand is quote-unquote real. Dreams are just as real as the physical universe around us, because they are simply different kinds of experiences. But then, that raises the question, if dreams are just as real as the physical world around us, why does the physical world seem so much more tangible and solid than dreams do? Dreams are malleable, they're messy, they shift and change all the time, they can't sit still. You probably have different dreams from one night to the next with nothing in common with each other. But every time you wake up in the morning, you wake up in the same room, same set of circumstances, around the same people. So obviously, the one that seems more consistent must be more real, right? And yes, from a certain point of view, that might seem like a fairly reasonable argument to make. However, why don't we take a moment to think about the way dreams actually work? What happens in a dream? Why do they seem so weird and random? They're not random. The way dreams work is that what you think manifests in your experiences instantaneously. You think of an object you want to have, and you have it. Immediately, there it is. You think of some place you want to go, and boom, you're there. That's the way it works in dreams. The dream world, or what I would prefer to call the astral plane, is a world of pure thought. It is a reality where everything you think manifests in your experiences instantaneously. It is straight up magic. What could be more magical than having a mere idea manifested into physical reality? Imagine if you were walking down the street one day and you were thinking about, say, polar bears. And then suddenly you randomly see a freaking polar bear on the street ahead of you. Wouldn't you say that's pretty magical? Because that's exactly the way that dreams operate. And the craziest thing is, the physical world we see all around us functions in exactly the same fashion. That's what quantum mechanics shows us. Take the infamous double slit experiment, for example. This was an experiment conducted all the way back in 1803, and the way they set it up was so that a little projectile would fire singular electrons at a little barrier with two slits cut into it side by side. Behind this barrier was a screen for the electron to hit. And the craziest thing is that the results of this experiment depended entirely on whether or not someone was looking at it. If someone was absorbing the electrons as they passed through the barrier, then the electrons would fall into two neat rows side by side, as you might expect from a particle. However, when no one was absorbing it, the electron instead spread out as a wave. Now this is very, very interesting because it implies that in the absence of a conscious observer, the physical universe exists only as probabilities. That's it. Some things are more likely to happen than others, but anything is possible. You know what this means? It means that simply by observing the universe around you, you are in turn creating the universe around you. It doesn't have any set defined form. The way your circumstances appear to you depends on what you are looking for. So the way I see it, the only difference between our personal dreams that we experience night after night and our larger experience that we wake up to every morning is that this dream we call life is simply set up in such a way that it is more difficult to manifest things. That's it. That's the only difference. But that raises another question. If the dreams we experience at night are so much easier, if we can literally just think of something and it happens, why not just stay there all the time? And I have spent so long asking myself that very question. But I believe I may have found an answer. The reason we experience this more solid, more dense, more difficult to manifest things type of dream is because if it's more difficult to get what you want, then you have to really, really want it in order to get it. This so-called physical manifest experience exists as a means of introspection. We are here so that we can learn about ourselves, so that we can find out what it is that we really value, because you have to value something in order to get it in this world. That's the way it's set up. However, there is a bit of a catch-22 here. The reality that you manifest isn't necessarily what you want. Instead, it is the reality that you are deeply focused on. Whatever you focus on is what you manifest. So the choice is up to you. This dream of life is yours. You are manifesting it. It is a creation of your own making. But whether it is a pleasant dream or a living nightmare, that's up to you. As always, I wish you well, my friends, and may peace and love flow through you always.